Chapter 9 of Tales of Troy, Ulysses the Sacker of Cities. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Tales of Troy, Ulysses the Sacker of Cities by Andrew Lang. Chapter 9. The Cruelty of Achilles and the Ransoming of Hector. When Achilles was asleep that night, the ghost of Patroclus came, saying, "Why dost thou not burn and bury me? For the other shadows of dead men suffer me not to come near them, and lonely I wander along the dark dwelling of Hades." Then Achilles awoke, and he sent men to cut down trees and make a huge pile of faggots and logs. On this they laid Patroclus, covered with white linen. And then they slew many cattle, and Achilles cut the throats of 12 Trojan prisoners of war, meaning to burn them with Patroclus to do him honour. This was a deed of shame, for Achilles was mad with sorrow and anger for the death of his friend. Then they drenched with wine the great pile of wood, which was 30 yards long and broad, and set fire to it, and the fire blazed all through the night, and died down in the morning. They put the white bones of Patroclus in a golden casket, and laid it in the hut of Achilles, who said that when he died they must burn his body and mix the ashes with the ashes of his friend, and build over it a chamber of stone, and cover the chamber with a great hill of earth, and set a pillar of stone above it. This is one of the hills on the plain of Troy, but the pillar has fallen from the tomb long ago. Then, as the custom was, Achilles held games, chariot races, foot races, boxing, wrestling, and archery, in honour of Patroclus. Ulysses won the prize for the foot race and for the wrestling, so now his wound must have been healed. But Achilles still kept trailing Hector's dead body each day round the hill that had been raised for the tomb of Patroclus, till the gods in heaven were angry, and bade Thetis tell her son that he must give back the dead body to Priam, and take ransom for it. And they sent a messenger to Priam to bid him redeem the body of his son. It was terrible for Priam to have to go and humble himself before Achilles, whose hands had been red with the blood of his sons, but he did not disobey the gods. He opened his chests and took out 24 beautiful embroidered changes of raiment, and he weighed out 10 heavy bars, or talents of gold, and chose a beautiful golden cup. And he called 9 of his sons, Paris and Helenus and Deiphobus and the rest, saying, "Go, ye bad sons, my shame! Would that Hector lived, and all of you were dead." For sorrow made him angry. "Go and get ready for me a wain, and lay on it these treasures." So they harnessed mules to the wain, and placed in it the treasures, and after praying, Priam drove through the night to the hut of Achilles. In he went, when no man looked for him, and kneeled to Achilles, and kissed his terrible death-dealing hands. "Have pity on me, and fear the gods, and give me back my dead son," he said. "And remember thine own father. Have pity on me, who have endured to do what no man born has ever done before, to kiss the hands that slew my sons." Then Achilles remembered his own father far away, who now was old and weak, and he wept, and Priam wept with him. And then Achilles raised Priam from his knees and spoke kindly to him, admiring how beautiful he still was in his old age, and Priam himself wondered at the beauty of Achilles. And Achilles thought how Priam had long been rich and happy like his own father Peleus, and now old age and weakness and sorrow were laid upon both of them, for Achilles knew that his own day of death was at hand, even at the doors. So Achilles bade the women make ready the body of Hector for burial, and they clothed him in the white mantle that Priam had brought, and laid him in the wain. And supper was made ready, and Priam and Achilles ate and drank together, and the women spread a bed for Priam, who would not stay long, but stole away back to Troy, while Achilles was asleep. All the women came out to meet him and to lament for Hector. They carried the body into the house of Andromache, and laid it on a bed, and the women gathered around, and each in turn sang her song over the great dead warrior. His mother bewailed him, and his wife, and Helen of the fair hands, clad in dark mourning raiment, lifted up her white arm and said, "Hector, of all my brethren in Troy, thou wert the dearest, since Paris brought me hither. Would that ere that day I had died! For this is now the 20th year since I came, and in all these 20 years never have I heard a word from thee that was bitter and unkind. Others might upbraid me, thy sisters or thy mother, for thy father was good to me as if he had been my own, but then thou wouldst restrain them that spoke evil by the courtesy of thy heart and thy gentle words. Ah, woe for thee and woe for me, whom all men shudder at! For there is now none in wide Troyland to be my friend like thee, my brother and my friend." So Helen lamented, but now was done all that men might do. A great pile of wood was raised, and Hector was burned, and his ashes were placed in a golden urn, in a dark chamber of stone, within a hollow hill. End of section 9.